Well, in 2010, I actually was entertaining full time, and I had this food blog, NYC Foodie. So I started introducing myself as the foodie magician. I would go to restaurants or parties and be like, "Hey, what's up? I'm the foodie magician," and people would be like, "Well, what the fuck is that? Do you do magic with food?" Well, I'm like, "Well, I make it disappear." No, I'm just a magician, mentalist, comedian that loves food. I'm a foodie and a magician. I'm the foodie magician.
Sure.
And a year after I started calling myself that, in 2011, the New York Times actually wrote a 2-page cover story about me in the dining section of the Times, which kind of put me on the national and international map.
Josh Beckerman's my next guest, AKA the Foodie Magician. The first time I met Josh, he told me he makes food disappear. He ate an entire foot-long lamb chop in one of my restaurants in under 1 minute. Josh Beckerman, the AKA Foodie Magician, is a professional entertainer and a consumer of just about all the restaurants I know of that exist in New York. He intertwines magic, mentalism, and comedy around the world. This guy's no wallflower. He's funny, entertaining, and makes most rooms fall in love with him within a few minutes. That's his real magic. The New York Times stated, "Go out often enough and the food magician will materialize at the edge of your table." He has done tons of TV shows, Late Night Show with Seth Meyers, The Today Show, and yes, of course, The Cooking Channel. For a healthy dose of magic and updates in real time, you really have to follow him on social media. I get most of my Instagram stories through him on every great restaurant in New York to eat at. A true entrepreneur that has squared away a unique career and craft for himself in truly a compelling strategy, a role that no one can compete with or probably eat more in one day. This guy is a legend, AKA Josh the Foodie Magician. All right, folks, we've got an amazing guest on, the infamous, famous Josh Beckerman, AKA the Foodie Magician. My friend, thank you so much for coming to the show. How you doing?
Doing great. Good to be here.
Like, you've got a really amazing story. Are you a native New Yorker? I never really asked you where you were born.
Yeah, I'm from New York. First 10 years of my life, I grew up in a place called Kew Gardens, Queens, from 0 to 10. Then I moved to Stony Brook, Long Island, New York.
Wow. So in 2006, you started a food blog, right? And this blog kind of took off because I'm watching your stuff at the moment, and it's pretty compelling. You are the massive supporter of restaurants. So you were making money from doing this blog or doing magic at parties?
No, well, when I started the blog in 2006, I was doing magic at parties nights and weekends. I actually had a day job in the financial industry, not like business, not like analyst or trader. I was getting people lunches and stuff like that, and then I would entertain and party every night and weekend. But I've always been obsessed with food and restaurants,
right?
And I would eat out every day.
Sure.
And all my friends would always ask me for restaurant suggestions. So in 2006, I was like, you know what? I should start a blog. So I started a blog, nycfoodie.com. I wasn't making money out of it. It was just really to give people restaurant suggestions.
And then something happened in 2010. There was a bit of a pinnacle change with you, right?
Well, in 2010, I actually was entertaining full time, and I had this food blog, NYC Foodie. So I started introducing myself as the foodie magician. I would go to restaurants or parties and be like, "Hey, what's up? I'm the foodie magician," and people would be like, "Well, what the fuck is that? Do you do magic with food?" Well, I'm like, "Well, I make it disappear." No, I'm just a magician, mentalist, comedian that loves food. I'm a foodie and a magician. I'm the foodie magician.
Sure.
And a year after I started calling myself that, in 2011, the New York Times actually wrote a 2-page cover story about me in the dining section of the Times, which kind of put me on the national and international map. So.
That's just such a unique, and we're going to get to that unique skill set. Have you always been like a great showman from a kid? Like, you don't ever seem like you're gun shy to get on stage.
Yes. Well, it's funny. My name is Josh, which is kind of a metaphor for my life. You ever hear that term? I'm just joshing you.
Yeah, right.
I've been joshing people since I was born.
Yeah, right.
And, my father got me a magic kit box when I was around 5 years old.
Sure.
That's when I bit the magic bug, and I haven't stopped since. So I have always been a showman.
But who's your inspiration? I could say people that are, you may not like, but like somebody like David Blaine, he's an illusionist, right? Very different in a way to what you do.
Now he does like big stunts and all that, but back in the day when I was around 17, his first TV special, he was really focusing on street magic.
Yep.
And I don't know if he's an inspiration. Yeah, anyone who's doing magic on TV is inspirational, because that's what I want to do.
You don't, so I can get you into my restaurant and lock you in a wine keg and see if you can get yourself out and fill it with wine or something like that?
No, I can't do that, but I'll make your lamb chops disappear because they're amazing.
You'll probably drink your way out of it anyway. So, but you don't actually drink much at all.
No. I'm more into THC gummies.
Yeah, right. So do you ever get nervous?
Not really, no.
Ever? So like, what's your biggest audience?
What's like live shows?
Yeah.
The biggest live show I did was in Pueblo, Mexico for 3,400 people.
Wow.
I'm what you call a people person.
Sure.
Like, I suffer from a disease, Robert, called FOMO. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
Fear of missing out. So I need to be out networking, eating, entertaining. I love people. And my goal in life is really to entertain, make people smile, laugh, and sometimes cry with joy. But so yeah, 3,400 people.
So never get nervous. Like, you just own it.
No, I love people.
So I got this weird story. Did you trick up Michael Bolton in Cleveland? What the hell's that about?
Well, how do you even know that?
I know shit.
Wait, how
about
did you know that? Are you a mentalist? You're freaking... Yeah, no, I was at an event. It was a company called Quicken Loans. They had a big event there I was performing at, and he was at the same event. And I did...
Was he performing or?
I don't remember. I do remember... No, I don't remember. I know he was at the hotel I was at.
Yeah.
Or the event, and I...
What's
read his mind
Bolton
and I
doing
mind
in
fucked him.
You mind fucked him.
I think he was at the... No, I think he was... He might have been performing. I didn't hear him sing.
Right.
That would have been cool, I guess. But...
Well, yeah.
But no, I did read his mind and entertain him.
So here's one. So is this true or false? We've got Dave Beckham, Noel Gallagher, Dave Grohl, Alison Mosshart, Liv Tyler.
Wow.
Are you doing magic for these people? And what the hell are you doing? Like, is this some sort of weird
someone's
thing?
reading page 6.
Is this some kind of kiki party that I don't know about for the entertainment industry?
I mean, that there a couple years ago, I was at a bar,
Yep.
a discreet bar. I'm not gonna. I don't know if the name was in the page 6,
Yep.
but yeah, they happened to all be there, having drinks, and I was there too. And when I'm at a bar, or restaurant, next thing you know, it's showtime. So yeah, I did do magic to all those people.
But what I find interesting is your approach. You've been in my venues a few times, and you're like, I put you in front of pretty serious people, right? They're having a good time. And I'm like, hey, this is my friend Josh, and he's a foodie magician. And then I just leave, and, just because there's a natural assumption that they're going to fall in love with you straight away. Your ability to segue yourself into a table, that's not easy, right? Because that could be quite annoying, but never have I ever introduced to anybody that afterwards I come back 40 minutes later and they're all like losing their minds. Like, who is this genius? How do you do it? How do you break the ice straight away?
Well, I mean, I have such a passion, obsession with entertaining, and my goal is really to make people laugh.
Right.
So, and I utilize magic and mentalism to do that. So I know how to, read minds, which is, it's really tricks, but I know how to entertain, and I've been doing it my whole life, really. So it's for me, entertaining and doing magic and mentalism tricks is like breathing to me.
Sure.
So it's just like breathing. So it's very easy for me.
So this period, when this show comes out, hopefully we're grown-ups and we're allowed to go out again. But this lockdown period, you've been here the whole time as well, right? I think you did 1 or 2 trips. But, we're both basically sitting in New York watching the apocalypse.
Are you stalking me? How do you know my whole life? This is really...
I see every second of your life. We track you. But, I mean, this is, we kind of hit the apocalyptic moments where the streets were dead and we were all locked in our house. I heard you did some incredible Zoom shows. How the fuck do you do Zoom shows? Like, I mean, it's one thing to be in front of a person. There's an illusion and there's a trick and there's a strategy around that. But now we're on Zoom. There's a whole bunch of people at home. I heard you did it for a bunch of people, and they were blown away. Is this true?
Yeah. So back when this global pandemic hit back in March, I had a lot of live events booked, and obviously they all got canceled because no one's doing live events. I was like, oh, I guess I'm getting $0 for the rest of the year because all my events got canceled. But then in late March, early April, I was able to pivot from the live shows to do virtual Zoom shows. I basically took my live show and just evolved it into doing stuff virtually. So, and it's been going great. I've been doing shows for corporations and individuals every week. But some of these tricks actually are stronger virtually, because if I'm doing a show and someone's in Los Angeles and London, and I'm doing a trick where they have something in their hand, like a bill in their hand, and I'm doing something magical or a mind reading stuff, that's like, how is that even possible? I'm not even next. I'm in a different city than them.
Did you have to rethink some of those things?
Yes, I did. I had to rethink a bunch of it.
And you weren't in your bathroom or anything in your underwear doing it, were you? Or?
No. All I only do 4 things in life. I walk 5 to 10 miles a day around New York.
Yeah.
Or any city I'm in when there's no global pandemic. I eat at restaurants.
5 times a day.
Yeah, at least. I entertain events, and I travel when there's no global pandemic.
Sure.
So I'm drinking cold brew iced coffee or walking around New York is when I get my my thoughts and my visions of new tricks.
So just before we got on, I've got a ton of food questions for you.
Go for it.
I got some dirty stuff on you as well here. But you were fucking around with my producer Mark, who's behind the camera now.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what you guys were talking about. You were talking about something. And can we get you on? Are we allowed to get Mark on? Can you do? What were you doing with him?
So I do what you call mentalism, which is the subset of magic, the magic of the mind, reading the illusion of reading minds. But I have a signature trick where I have people think of restaurants in their mind.
Yep.
Could be in New York or anywhere in the world, really, and I try to guess the restaurant they're thinking of. So what I told Mark is I want Mark to think of a restaurant in his mind, and I'm going to try to read his mind. That's what I'm going to try to do. Should we do it now?
Jesus Christ. Thank God you didn't try and read my mind. It's like a fucking theme park. Mark, do you want to come on, and can you... I don't know what he's going to do to you.
Can I stand up?
Yeah, sure.
Should I keep the headphones on?
Yep.
All right. All right. So Mark, I said, Mark, I want you to think of a restaurant in New York that you like a lot, right? So you have one in your mind.
I do.
In fact, I said think of more than one, but you're thinking of one. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I'm going to try to read his mind. The camera's there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Got to suck in a little. But let's see, we're matching. Yeah. I have like 30 black shirts because they make me look thinner.
Yeah. You look thin.
So question number, I'm going to ask you maybe 2 or 3 questions. Question number 1 is, where are you from originally? Where'd you grow up? Well, you have an accent. Are you from New Jersey or?
Scotland.
Scotland, which is the New Jersey of the United Kingdom.
Fucking New Jersey. Like you read his mind.
Question number 2. The restaurant in your mind, when was the last time you were there?
2 weeks ago.
And, okay. It's fresh in your mind. That means they're open. Open during pandemic. I got to get that down. Because I will say, so, and the restaurants, don't tell me where it is, but it's either Manhattan, Brooklyn, or Queens, correct?
Yeah.
So we narrowed it down, Robert, to 27,000 restaurants.
Yeah.
And the last question is, have you ever been to this restaurant that's in your mind with Robert? No. Yes or no? Okay. No. Here we go. 2 minutes on the clock. Well, I'll do, just for time, I'll do 1 minute. I'm going to start saying stuff aloud to read his mind.
Sure.
What I'm saying could be wrong, could be right. Just be poker face.
Okay.
And he's from Scotland. All right. Clock starts now. 1 minute. All right. So 60% of restaurants in New York are actually Italian.
Right.
I have a friend named Michael White who's got a great northern Italian seafood restaurant called Morea. They're doing outdoor seating now. But he has also got a restaurant downtown called Osteria Marini, which is in Soho, not too far away from the great Gran Tivoli.
Yep.
Not what's in your mind. Osteria Marini is across the street, actually, from La Esquina, which is Mexican. Nope, I don't think so, Scotland. Maybe you're thinking about Laura Fish Bar, also in Soho, which is across the street from the Bursa Kitchen, owned by the chef there, of course, is my friend Jean George, who's got a restaurant in the Seaport called the Fulton Great Lobster Noodles. But you know what else has a great lobster dish? A guy named Mark Forgione. His Tribeca restaurant, Mark Forgione, is also the chef of a restaurant in Olita called Peasant. No, it's going to be downtown, yes. All right, I'm going to take up my pen. I'm going to write something down. By the way, I hope if I don't get this right, we edit it out. All right. In your mind,
get these right.
Mark, I want you to think of the cuisine. Don't say it. Look at me. Look at my eyes. Think of the cuisine. And I don't know if the camera is going to be able to pick this up, but I'm going to go with this cuisine. I'll show. Robert, can you see that?
Yeah.
Is that camera zoomed in? Or should I go up to the camera and show them what I wrote?
I'll do it.
Take it off the camera.
Take it off. Okay, wait. I'm going to do. Let me just do all 3. Think of the area of New York.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to just do this. And I could be right, I could be wrong. All right, this is what I'm getting. All right, show the camera that. Keep it right there. Are you thinking of a restaurant? It's a Chinese restaurant. It's in Chinatown. It's called Chinese Tuxedo. Yes or no?
No.
Okay. Wait. He should probably talk into the camera, so they can pick up.
Hear him? Can we can hear you.
You'll hear me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: what was the overall cuisine of the restaurant that you're thinking about?
Fish.
Fish?
Yeah.
Fish, seafood?
Yeah.
Okay. What area of New York?
West Village.
West Village. In a loud voice, there's 27,000 restaurants. The one that you think about is merely inside of your mind. No one knows you. So everyone can hear at home. What restaurant is in your mind? Say it very loud.
Mary's Fish Camp.
No way.
Just got Foodie Magician.
Look at this. Look at that.
Wait, I have a question real quick. Before we do this. One more thing. Did you have another restaurant in your mind? Yes or no? Did you have a different? Yes or no? Don't say. Did you have a different one in your mind? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You did? Did you have a second one or no?
You asked me for a second one.
I said think of 2, right?
Yeah.
And you thought of 2.
I did, yeah.
Do you remember the second one or don't say it?
Yes.
You haven't. By the way, just so they know at home, whoever's watching this, hi. You have not told me a thing.
No.
All I know is that you're from Scotland, the New Jersey of the United Kingdom.
That's gonna stick.
And that's pretty much all I know. Your name is Mark.
Yeah, that's right.
You have another restaurant in your mind.
Yeah.
Think of the location. Don't say the area in New York. Don't say where it is. Think of it in your mind. I'm trying to read his mind. It's not easy. 27,000 restaurants. There's a global pandemic. I got to read his mind.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go with this area. This is crazy. By the way, I live in the East Village. A lot of great restaurants in the East Village. We can get to that later, but I'm going to go with this. this area. You know, I said Tribeca. Tribeca's got, you know, there's a good restaurant called Frenchette in Tribeca, which is like French brasserie. Reminds me of Pastis in the meatpacking. By the way, great burger. But you know what else is a great burger? Fort Charles prime rib.
Oh my God, yes.
Very good. And you know what I get for dessert at Fort Charles prime rib every time?
Whiskey?
The French dip sandwich. I don't drink. French dip sandwich. You thought of two restaurants merely in your mind. I'm going to go with this restaurant. Can you do me a favor, Robert? Show the camera what I wrote. I write sloppy. Are you, in a loud voice, what's the area? You have a second restaurant that no one knows for you. It's literally in your mind. You're not told me a thing. What area is the second restaurant?
West Village.
West Village again.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't live in West Village.
It's a big city, buddy.
Big city. That's fine. I love the West Village. What's the restaurant in your mind? Say it very loud. Second restaurant.
Extra virgin.
No.
So is extra virgin written on there if you didn't see it?
Extra virgin. By the way, that's the opposite of me. Okay. All right. Whatever. All right. You got Foodie Majestic. All right. Going back.
All right.
I have more.
We go.
But before I leave this podcast, I'd like to guest edition is my
Done.
Oh, by the way,
Let's do it at
this
the.
is a podcast, but we're recording this.
Yeah.
We should tell the listeners, not the viewers, what happened. Like I wrote, because they're not going to know.
No. So the interesting part is that Josh basically guessed and wrote on a pad that I put up against the camera, both restaurants, and there was no pre-conversation about where, how, what, and when. It was pretty astonishing.
And so the listeners here
creepy
know.
as well.
Besides the viewers, I read Mark's mind. There you go. You got Foodie Magician.
Mark's
After
mind.
I do that trick, I say you got Foodie Magician.
And
Should you want me to try to guess a
let's
dish
do it
now?
at the very end
At the
of
very
the show.
end. Good. Because
You
I said,
two.
because I love food, I love restaurants. Like I said, I want to try to guess a dish.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about, right? So,
Okay, good.
thank God you weren't inside my mind. We'd be here for hours. I need therapy. You'd need therapy. Look, let's talk food. I'm watching your IG, your Instagram stories, right? You eat a fuckload of sushi. I mean an ocean supply weekly. Is that hands down your favorite food?
Yeah. So Robert, I love every food. I
Yeah.
really love everything. I'm open-minded in terms of culinary adventures, but my favorite food is sushi. I could eat it every day. I practically do. If you told me you have to eat sushi every day till the day you die, I would say sure. I love it.
Right.
It's kind of light. And stuff, yeah.
Give me 3 hits, 3 places, your top 3.
Well, it's funny because we're in a middle of a global pandemic, but not only is all the food in New York incredible. I don't cook at all. I eat out every meal, lunch, dinner. I don't really do breakfast, but I would eat it out because I don't cook.
Yep.
But not only is the food in New York incredible, the sushi in New York is absolutely incredible, and I've been to them all. So there's a couple of places that have opened up actually in the last couple months during the pandemic, which blows my mind. We're opening up a restaurant, a sushi restaurant, or any kind of restaurant. The pandemic is nuts. A lot of restaurants, of course, a lot of restaurants are closing, but a lot of restaurants are opening. So there's 2 that opened up nearing the East Village that blew me away for the price. The most recent one is called Sushi Kai.
Where's that?
It's on 9th Street between 1st and 2nd, East
Right.
Village.
Sushi Kai.
Sushi Kai, Kai, $65 omakase. Comes with 12 pieces of amazing sushi, a spicy salmon roll, and 3 little appetizers, including snail, escargot. A little
Really?
snail, which is
that's
flavorful.
kinda interesting.
Monkfish liver. I mean, this, and $65 for an omakase. It's a great price.
Sure.
Another restaurant in the East Village on 7th Street between Avenue A and 1st is called Shin East, Shinn. Shin East, another, I think they're doing a $65 omakase as well.
Wow.
Those 2, by the way, they are doing outdoor dining.
Sure.
Those 2 I've actually taken home. I have
You're
not
like
done.
the fucking restaurant alliance right now. You're giving prices, dishes, pronunciations, and street addresses.
This is my life. This is all I do is walk around New York, eat all day, and occasionally I entertain at events on Zoom or live.
So number 3?
Number 3 is a tough because there's so many great ones. I like good bangs for your buck. I love that quote. What a good bang for your buck. And the last great bang for another bang. I hate to say it's another East Village spot, but I do go all over New York. But Sushi by M.
Sushi by M.
Sushi by M I did a $50 omakase there, which is again another good price.
$15 cheaper.
Yep, but very good. $50, very good.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of great sushi and food all over New York. I haven't
And there's
really
a lot
had
of really well-priced food. You know, you can go from $10 and up, and I've seen you eat $5 things. And so, okay, so you're not allowed to bring up Scar's Pizza when I ask you this next question, because this is like
I love Scars.
I know you do, and every time I'm near, sometimes we hang out at Bar Belly. We interviewed Jin Choi the other day, who works and runs the bar there. Scars is, you can smell it wafting outside the neighborhood. Outside Scar Pizza, like, what are your major hits a week, and what's hot right now? Like, I know there are two questions there, but what are your go-tos? You got to have that every week. We know sushi, and what do you think's hot right now?
Okay, wait. When you say go-to, do you mean pizza or anything?
Anything. Staples. Like, you know, something that you can't go without a week without sushi, but you can't go for a week. You eat at Scars a bit.
Well, no. The thing is, when I walk by, I walk all over New York.
Yeah.
Anytime I walk by Scars, I have to get a slice because I think it's one of the best slices, if not the best slice in New York.
Big statement.
Although I did last weekend walk to Brooklyn because I got to get my steps, so I walk from the East Village to wherever. I walked over the bridge to Williamsburg Bridge to a place called La Industry Pizzeria.
Yep.
Have you heard of this place?
Yep.
Very good slice.
This is getting political now, because being best slice in New York is kind of like a big statement.
Yeah, that's why I said could be the best. Could be. There's a lot of great slices, and there are a lot of now. Some of these pizza restaurants are doing like sourdough pizza. Like there's a restaurant on Mulberry Street called Sophia's.
Yep.
Chef there is a guy named Adam Leonti, and he's doing like a sourdough bread pizza, which is good. There's also a restaurant in Williamsburg called Leo, that does sourdough pizza, sister to Ops, which is kind of Neapolitan style pizza. But in terms of go-tos,
should you and I create like a restaurant guide show where you just basically just waft off today's hits? You kind of do that anyway.
Well, yeah, I'm like a walking. Years ago, they would call me like a walking Zagat because I would just walk.
Are.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have a photograph selectively. Well, no, I have a photograph memory of all restaurants in New York. Not really Upper East, Upper West too much. In fact, I go to Los Angeles, California more than the Upper West Side. True statement.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, I like to try every new restaurant opening up too. So, I mean, lately I haven't had a go-to.
Yeah, but you're like, what's really interesting is our friend Eddie Bucks,
Yes.
Chinese Tuxedo.
Great.
Him and the chef, Paul Donnelly, and they've just opened The Tiger, which is Tyger. You'll know the address. I know. It was the old Nickel and Diner on...
It's on Howard and Center
Of
Street.
course he knows the address. I mean, what do you expect? That, like, he's my friend and yours, and a typical Australian, you know, like, I'm getting him on the show because I was like, what the fuck would an Australian think coming to New York and opening a Chinese restaurant in a basement in Chinatown? Right. And, you know, they killed it, and it's a great restaurant. And they just opened Tiger, right? And so, like, Eddie's like, hey, you know, we're going to be opening soon. Be great to see you. Before I even can respond to his text, boom, there you are. How do you know about this stuff?
Well, for that case, I actually got a little personal invite.
Yeah.
Because what you need to
You
learn,
responded quicker.
Robert, you need to learn how to do magic and my reading. Then you'll get the invites to the friends and families.
Yeah, the only disappearing act I do is food, and, you know, you can see that in my belly. You're an amazing supporter of restaurants. There's no... I don't know anybody. I honestly don't. Even the pretend foodie bloggers that go out there and then, oh, look at me, I'm eating, like, whipped cream with a pancake. You're actually really diverse in your the things you love to eat in your own. So when I was looking at your profile and I looked at, you know, you're an amazing supporter of restaurants, what's changed for COVID for you, and what do you think's changed for restaurants? Because obviously I know, but for the listeners right now in New York, how's it changed apart from just eating outside?
Well, it's changed. It's changed in the last 6 months, even from during the quarantine, where a lot of the restaurants were closed and there was no outdoor dining. I was doing a lot of takeout. Yep. So a lot of these restaurants every restaurant has had to pivot from, you know, the fine dining to dishes that are, you know, you can do takeout and delivery because they got to make, you know, their money somehow. I mean, the restaurant industry is so tough to make money in when there's no global pandemic. With global, I can't do the math. I don't know how anyone's making money, to be honest.
You're not. So, but let me ask you. So with takeout, right? We chose not to do it because we didn't feel our food traveled, right? So that long, you know, 1 foot lamb chop that you used to eat at our place, like that thing 15 minutes later at somebody's door cold is not my idea of a good time.
Right.
What travels well and what doesn't with takeout? And we don't have to mention restaurant names because there's some foods that just don't work, right? And there are some foods that just do well.
Well, yeah. Well, I've had pizza that pizza does not travel well.
Yeah.
Depending how far it is from your house.
Sure.
Yeah, and I never use my stove or oven, so I mean, a lot of the pizza you have to, you know, reheat. But I mean, I will say every meal. I don't need to mention any all the restaurants I've had, but and there've been a lot. But every meal I've had has been incredible or very good.
Yeah,
I
because
haven't
you've
had
got,
a
like, well, if you go back to pizza, like Napolitan style pizza, you need to eat it hot and
Yeah, you
straight
need it
away.
fresh,
Whereas
so-
American style pizza are a bit denser, travels quite well. I've been surprised at some of the little gems that I've found. Like there's the guys at Nolita Pizza. This tiny little 3-foot place, and all of a sudden I'm getting a pizza and it's delicious, right? And then I've had the Naples style pizzas in the place that went pre-COVID, which is delicious. And then when it got to me, it was cold and it was kind of I should have known that anyway, being a restaurateur chef. But
like I would say, like my favorite food, sushi, actually does travel well because it's fucking cold anyways.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes it sticks to the wherever the box it's in, but like, the rice gets a little sticky, and of course sushi. Really good sushi is known for you have to have like good warm rice, fresh rice.
Sure.
So that might get a little cold, but actually sushi does. It's been traveling well.
But like the guys from Uncle Boone's Thai Diner, we heard the bad news that they closed Uncle Boone's from the they
now it's just a Thai diner,
Thai
correct?
diner,
Which by the way is fabulous.
Man.
Top 3 pad thais in New York, in my opinion.
I ate there 3 weeks before the pandemic, and I was blown away. They're an amazing team. That travels really well. I've eaten that takeout, had delivered at home, and that food travels incredibly well. I thought for Thai food, and he's got such a unique flavor.
Yes, I actually have been. I love Thai food. I love every food, but I love Thai food. I eat a lot of Thai. I like Thai diner a lot. I've taken out from there. There's a restaurant near me in the East Village called Soother, which is a new restaurant that opened up maybe 2 months ago. SOOTHR. They're doing great Thai dishes, and they actually have a sister restaurant called Thai Villa. Also has an amazing pad thai.
What's been your saddest closure? Because we've had over 1,000 restaurants permanently.
I mean,
closed.
Uncle Boone's is one of them.
Absolutely.
But like, thank God they still have the Thai diner because it's the same chef and team doing that. So you still get some of the.
There's been some heartbreaking closures of institutional places, right?
Yeah, hold on, I gotta think.
Gotham.
Bar. Oh, well. No.
Moving right along.
No. The thing is, actually, some news is that the chef for years, of course, at Gotham Bar Grill was a guy named Alfred Portali, who opened up before the pandemic a place called Portali, I think on 18th Street, and they're actually just opened up now. This week opened up for takeout, delivery, and outdoor dining. So that's a good thing. So. Wait, what else? I don't know. There's been a lot of closings. It's so sad.
It has. I mean, there's been, ironically, there's been people opening, right? Like,
right.
Forgione took over Peasant, and I went there, and I had a fantastic meal with friends. We ate out on the street, and I was like, wow.
Peasant was could have been my last meal before everything closed.
Right.
And I ate indoors.
Yep.
I had like a burrata sandwich, and they do good stuff there. And I've eaten outdoors there. It's great. Good pizza, good.
We should get him on as well, Mark. I mean,
he's great.
He's a super humble guy.
Doing good wood-fired stuff there at Peasant.
What do you think everybody's got their own view, but what do you think the future's looking like at the moment for New York City? I'm digging in. I don't know about you, and I'm Australian. I'm not going anywhere. Fort Knox is building around me. I believe in the city and I believe in the people. What do you think the future looks like right now? Because we're hitting today, the interview will maybe come out a little later, but today we hit a 200,000 death milestone. Not to drop the spontaneity and fun of this show, but we're looking at a lot more. Do you think the city's? I mean, we know it's going to bounce back, right? I don't even have to ask you that question because look at the city's been through, and it always comes back. Next 6 months, what do you think?
Well, New York City is the love of my life. I love her. I love her unconditionally. Sometimes in the winter she could be a cold bitch, but I still fucking love her.
Yeah.
She's she's resilient. And the people here are resilient. I know a lot of people left, but it's interesting now that because I'm walking around all day. She's a little different, but.
Sure.
But she's kind of cool right now. Right now, when I walk around, she's cool. The outdoor dining situation's almost got this like European flair to it. Everyone's super chill. It's kind of like the OGs are still here. The real tough New Yorkers are still here. I like it. Come like the winter time when it's cold out, and I mean, I was thinking about starting a heat lamp company because
you should
to make some money because all the I don't know. I actually don't know, to be honest. I kind of live day
That's
by
the right answer.
yeah, I live day by day.
Yeah.
I appreciate every moment. I try to stay as positive as possible. And what else could you do? But
No,
like,
I mean, things are changing. Like I ate at Batard, next to Frenchette in Tribeca the other day, and I hadn't been back there for like 6 months, and they had outside seating, and they did a beautiful job. And geez, the food was great. Austrian chef, I could be getting that wrong, but they were just really beautiful.
Marcus.
Marcus, yeah. Great hospitality, great outside area, and it was just a slight chill in the air. And I was sitting there going, man, like 15 more degrees down, this is going to be a problem, right? And now we've got heaters, and the idea is the city won't let you put propane gas out in the street. You can buy an AK-47, but you can't have a propane gas bottle because that's dangerous. And so now restaurants are faced with this idea that they've got 25% indoor, maybe, if this thing doesn't spike. We've got outdoor. It's about to get cold, and this city gets cold, right? And so you can have that fluctuation. Plus, we had a terrible summer of rain, and it was sunny one day, the next day it was raining, and it seemed to piss down with rain like Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
Right.
the 3 nights that restaurants needed to basically even break even, if they're even doing that. So, there's little restaurants like that. So let me ask you a different question outside New York. Favorite eating city is a big call, because I know we both love internationally. So let's stick in the US continent, because I know you're in Sardinia. No, you're in Sicily
Yeah.
like 6 months ago or
Yep.
something last year, and I just got super jealous because I was like due for a trip somewhere. I wish I went. If we were to say in New York is your favorite love of your life,
Yes.
out the continent of the US, favorite city, eating city?
And well, that's a great question. And I do travel. When I travel to do shows, I make it a culinary trip as well. So I do a show, and then I'll explore the culinary. I'll explore restaurants from whatever city I'm in. And there's a lot. By the way, there's a lot of great food cities. But believe it or not, Los Angeles, California is really good food. I mean, I've done food tours of Savannah, Georgia, and New Orleans has great food. Charleston, South Carolina.
Let's say you had to go live there, and that was it.
No, L.A. I like.
Yeah,
L.A. for multiple reasons. Well, number one, I go there often and to do shows. But number two, the food is actually really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I had actually the best Thai food I've had is not in New York, but it's in L.A. I've had amazing Thai.
The problem for you and me is we both love walking. That's how we stay. That's why we don't weigh 600 pounds, but we would.
Yes.
In LA, you're in a car all the time, right?
Well, speak for yourself. That's true. Everyone in LA.
I see you walking down the highway.
No, everybody in LA drives. You have to drive in LA.
Yeah,
I'm the only one. I walk. Any city I'm in, I walk. Again, I walk 5 to 10 miles a day. It's my thing. It's one of my 4 passions, or at least 4 passions. And I got to get my steps. But and that's all. By the way, walking in New York or LA or any city is a great way to also explore a city.
Sure,
and you can stumble upon hidden gems in terms of.
It's a little easier here, though. I mean, I can't imagine you down Santa Monica Boulevard, the only guy on the highway who's
I'm really on the highway, but I walk around. When I'm in LA, I walk, and most people think I'm homeless. Like, why is that guy walking? He's got to be homeless. No, I'm not. But I walk in LA. But
are you homeless? Or I don't know.
No, I'm not.
At home. I see you outside.
I am outside. I told you I'm always out because I suffer from FOMO.
Do you know the secret to getting around LA is actually riding in the tunnels? So there is a path. I'll send you the link. There's this incredible path. When I used to live there, I used to live in Venice Beach, and you can actually get from Venice Beach to the other side of Hollywood under the bypasses and through bridges and tunnels. There's a bike path, so you can actually get around there without getting on any freeways or taking any weird kind of turns. You might get a little beat up if it's 1 a.m., but at around midday you can ride around that entire city. It's pretty remarkable.
That's awesome.
So, look, I need some advice for some people. Let's say they're starting out as a barman. They say, look, the social fabric of a restaurant is very similar to being in front of an audience, right? How many times have you been rejected? Have you been rejected from gigs? And what does it feel like?
Wait, what do you mean rejected from
Rejected. Gigs? So, like, when you started out your career, like, there's a lot of people that have said to me, they're going to start a new career now. They're changing their path. They're changing their craft. And a lot of them are getting rejected. We had a great Jin Choey on here the other day from Barbelly, and she's in music, and 11 years ago she got to New York, was a medical person, and wanted to drop out, printed 50 resumes out, and went to every bar she could, and everybody knocked her back until someone said, maybe, and she said, I'll work for you for 2 weeks for free, will you give me a job afterwards? She got it. So, like, right now with, you're an entertainer, right? You're in front of an audience. You're reading that audience. You want to make everybody happy, right? What would you give advice to the young people right now in hospitality about making sure they chase their dream still while this COVID period's on, and some tenacity that you have? Because I don't think anything's genetic. I don't think you just woke up like this. I think you created this person who you are, right? So when we say, do you get stage fright? And you say, no, not really. And I don't think you just woke up and because that would be also an insult to you that you didn't work for it. So at some point, you've been knocked back a little bit on what you did. And how did you reboot yourself?
By the way, great question. Long question, but great question. Well, first of all, Nike has the best slogan: "Just do it."
Yep.
You just got to do it. If
I
you have your,
got a pair here, baby.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, baby.
If you just got to follow your dreams, follow your passions. You just got to do it. Okay.
Right.
Obviously, you have to pay the rent, and then to be able to
Sure,
live.
sure.
But in terms of rejection, like when I had a day job, I got probably I had like short-term, temporary positions in the financial industry, like getting people lunches and stuff like that.
Yep.
But after like a year or 2 years at one or two companies, I would get I don't want to say rejected, but terminated. Like it didn't work out.
Is it because you didn't come back with their lunch?
Yeah. No, it's because I didn't want to be. Well, the
Yeah,
truth
I
was I
understand.
didn't want to be there because I've always my whole life been entertainer. I just wanted to entertain, make people laugh, and entertain people,
Make people happy.
right? And
Yep.
for a job, that's
Yep.
what I wanted. That's what I do now. But obviously, as I said, you have to pay the bill, so I would have day jobs. But every time I would go to work, I'd sit in front of a computer. I was like, "What am I doing here? I'm an entertainer." But
Yep.
you got to pay the rent, So I had to take the certain steps to get to point, B. You had to do A, or to get to point C, really, you have to do A and B. But the thing is, the terminations after working at a company for a year or 2 years really was, I never saw it as a negative, the rejection. I always
Right.
see rejection as a positive.
Really?
Because everything pushes you on your path. So everything pushed me so I was working at a financial company for like 9 months, and the CEO told me I had to get along with the CEO's executive assistant. After 9 months, I did not get along with her. She, I don't know why. Maybe I was too entertaining for her. Maybe I was eating too many people's lunches. Why are you eating that guy's lunch?
Some copper behind a desk, you couldn't read her mind.
So, and I really enjoyed working at this company. This is years ago, like maybe 2005. And I got terminated, and it was upsetting. Well, number one, because I needed to pay the rent.
Yep.
And number two is like I enjoyed working there. But it pushed me in my path. And cut to 10 years later, the girl that got me fired is actually, number one, a good friend of mine, because I had seen her at parties, and I'm like, and every time I see her, I kind of give her a hug. I'm like, thank you for firing me.
So you got a kick in the ass from that.
Yeah. So for me, rejection actually is a positive. So you shouldn't be depressed about rejection. Rejection is good. It makes you stronger, makes you smarter, and it really just pushes you on your path.
That's a really amazing view, because that's not an easy place to get. It's easy to say that, but it wasn't probably easy when it happened, right? So what would you tell your 20-year-old self right now, apart from eat more salad? Which I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, what do I tell my 20-year-old self? All right, maybe not fall in love with wine and whiskey or much.
Every day I'm like, I should probably eat more salad. And then I'm like eating a cheeseburger. I'm like, all right,
Tomorrow.
diet starts tomorrow. Every day I say diet
What
starts
would you tell your 20-year-old self?
What? Oh, man. I love that question. I'm trying. I got to go back to when I was 20.
Yeah.
I was drinking more when I was 20.
Yeah.
Well, okay. What I would tell my 20-year-old self is what I tell myself every day, and is what my parents told me when I was 8 years old, and it was 4 letters, EIPC. Everything is perfectly constructed. So basically, it's all meant to be. It's all good. So and I have been doing it, is just enjoy life, appreciate every moment, and it's all meant to be. So going along with the rejection is fine. And yeah, I mean, I had a good 20 years.
You kind of strike me as a person like me, where people always say to me, I don't sleep a lot, and I sleep enough.
Right.
I'm not a 4-hour sleep. I think those are freaks when they're like, well, I do 3.5 hours, and then I cryogenic myself to wake. But I do 6.5 hours. But I like wake up with the excitement that I'm missing out. Like
right,
mofo,
same.
right? Yeah, so I wake up
same.
and I'm like, fuck, I've got to own this. Even if I'm hungover or I've had a big week or I'm doing whatever. Do you seem like you bounce out of bed?
Yeah, because I like to be, number one, as productive as possible. And
Sure.
I mean, I don't have a day job, so I don't really have to get up early, but I
Yep.
still do. I get,
Same.
7, 8 a.m. I wake up at 7 or 8, and I'm like, I should go to the gym, and then I just go get coffee instead every day. But I probably should be at the gym. But
Then I see you an hour later going, I shouldn't have breakfast today. I'm fasting, so I'll have a cronut.
yeah, then I'm eating like an olive oil cake. But I like, again, also I like to be out and about and meeting people I get lonely, so I need to be around people. I'm a people person.
And you love puppies.
I do love
You've
puppies
got,
and
like,
dogs.
this
I love dogs.
Fetish for puppy shows.
I do. It's kind of
like-
weird, but no, I'd rather
It's
have
not
a
weird.
fetish.
It's not
No,
weird.
I love dogs.
It's only weird for the people that you're photographing from across the street, and
Yeah,
they don't
well-
know. They don't know it's their dog that you're
Well, that's
photographing.
weird. But also, when I walk by a dog, I'll say I will not look at the owner. I'll just look at the dog and talk to the dog,
Yeah.
which is kind of rude.
Yeah,
Like,
not
if
really.
there's some-
Well, then because in New York they may tell you to get fucked if you start
Yeah, that's
talking on
true.
the street. Depends on what time of the night it is, right?
Yeah. But now a lot of dogs have their own Instagram, so people love
They
it.
do. They do. So okay, you're an absolute, gem for people's food, but tell me the one thing that you dislike with food trends right now. There's got to be something that's too weird.
Okay, wait. That's
Like I read this recipe,
Mm-hmm.
which is actually really old, and it was a turkey stuffed with oysters.
What?
And I thought to myself,
No.
and I, it's like the the Elvis Presley cooking book, and I've seen Cooking at Funerals. I've seen all kinds of crazy books.
Uh-huh.
My friends send me these weird cooking books when they find them, and they know no one's ever going to buy it. It's like, but I saw this turkey recipe, and it was basically oysters and prunes and bread stuffed inside the turkey, and I thought to myself, how old's this recipe? And I was like, they were saying it was 100 years old or whatever, and I'm thinking, what kind of fucking weirdo looks at the turkey in the farm and then goes out to sea, goes, go get some oysters, I'm hungry, right? So, like, what's the weirdest food thing happening right now? Well, pre-COVID that you think's just like outrageously unnecessary.
wow. Oh, wow.
Have you eaten anything you don't like?
Well, no, that's a great. I love these questions, but I started eating acai bowls,
Yep.
which is kind of big now.
Yep.
But then I was like, oh, I'm gonna be healthy. I'll have an acai bowl. And then I did some research. And I'm like, wait, this is a shitload of sugar.
Yeah.
This ain't. I'm not losing weight. I'm getting bloated and fat. I thought this was healthy. It's all fruit and sugar. So I don't know if that's a big trend. I know it's a big trend in Bali. And probably LA. Now, I don't know how big it is in New York now, but I don't know. But that's one thing I thought about. Like I was eating acai bowls, thinking I'm healthy, but
I lived in Bali for like 5 or 6 years.
no,
right?
I didn't. I did a show in Bali last year.
Yeah. Acai bowls are like a sort of a white guy's kind of, I'm going there to, do yoga and find myself. And
Right,
all that sort
it's
of
a big
shit.
thing.
And the rest of us were eating eggs for those 5 years going, there's too much sugar in that stuff. You say fake food, right?
What?
Like fake food, like don't pretend you're not what you are. So when you eat a dirty, greasy squash burger, just own it, right? Like when you're in Nashville and you get a squash burger at like some late night.
Wait, what's
bar.
a squash burger?
Well, the guy's kind of drunk cooking in the kitchen, when you go to Nashville and you go to some of those rock and roll bars and they're not
By the way,
trying
good food town, Nashville.
amazing food. And not when you go to these dive bars, they're trying to be a dive bar. They just are because they've been shit for so long that they're cool again. And you get it like a kind of a wonky burger. It looks like they kind of fell on it on the way out. And then you eat it and you go, yeah, but that's awesome. And also you go, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Anything
Anything's
right now,
awesome.
right? But then there's some foods that don't pretend they're something else, right? You eat a cronut, you're not eating that going, I'm on my way to Equinox Gym. But then when somebody sells you an acai bowl, I always hate saying that word. 'Cause
Acai.
It just makes me, it's like anybody says namaste next to me, I'm like, just don't come near me. But those fake foods, right? Like they pretend they're good for you. And is there anything, if we put that aside, is there anything just like you just thought was disgusting?
Okay, so there's only two. I love every food, and I love try. If there's a dish on a menu I've never tried, I will try it.
Sure.
There's 2 dishes that I ever had in my life that I disliked. One was turtle liver in the Cayman Islands.
That's disgusting.
Years ago, I was in
I've had that.
You've had it?
Yeah. It's
You know what it tasted like? Turtle liver.
Yeah.
And then I once had, and David Chang, by the way, great chef, great owner. But years ago at his Momofuku Milk Bar, he had a barbecue flavored soft serve ice cream. Not good.
It's just not enough. I mean, I had rotten shark. I know you can.
Rotten shark?
Look it up after. I'm not even going to tell anybody where it's from. They'll know. Let's say it's in a colder region of the world, and they basically put the shark in the ground and ferment it.
Okay.
And then after months, they take it out and they eat it. Now get this.
Why?
Well,
Why?
yeah.
Why?
Well, it's amazing. It's so potent that it cannot be legally transported by a plane because it's considered an explosive. And also, it's when they take it out of the ground, they have to wear gas masks to take it and bottle it and marinate it. That's probably the second most apart from the turtle liver. Maybe there's 1 or 2 other things, but generally speaking, I've not eaten anything in New York too weird. But I'm just
I did have another. I just thought of another dish. I hate to say it.
What was it?
From a Michelin starred restaurant. Should I say the restaurant or should I say the dish? It's up to
Depends
you.
if you want to be able to go there again. I don't give a shit.
Well, let's just say there's a restaurant in New York that some people have rated the best in the world,
Uh-huh.
and you can guess the restaurant.
Yeah.
Wait, that
I'm not getting involved in this one. I might need a table there at some point.
yeah, I think they're not open. I think they're going to open up for outdoor dining. But
Yeah.
there is a restaurant. Some people say it's the best in the world. But
Yeah.
I was there last year, and I had I had a squid salad with raw squid salad with juniper and horseradish. One of the worst dishes I ever had. I'm not going to mention the name of the restaurant because people say it's one of the number one in the world. Hey, it's not.
But can I argue that fact for a minute? I'm going to go off script here.
Yeah,
This
go
is I fucking hate this whole idea of best in the world.
Yeah, I hate
when
it.
you go to the motor show, the German Berlin Motor Show, they don't go, we've got the new Toyota Corolla up against the Bugatti. The Bugatti won best car in the world. And they don't do that. They do it in its category, right?
Right.
Because, of course, when you pay $1 million, you kind of feel like it should be good.
Right.
Right? And you're paying $7,000 for a car with an eco-friendly tank. It is what it is. So with restaurants, like sometimes the most incredible experiences, even if you've been traveling in LA, and I know the truck food thing has been a bit of a phenomenon for a while and it's kind of dying off now, but occasionally you'll eat something and they do one thing. Like one thing. There's a place in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia called Lume, Lume. You can look it up. And they spent $5 million on a bakery that does no wholesale, so it doesn't deliver to other bakeries, and wrapped it around the croissant. They have a queue, and it's a very modern design place, and they own the croissant. Croissant. And they own this one product. I love it when somebody owns...
Wait, the product's a croissant?
They have a croissant. They have 2 or 3 other little things.
That's all they sell.
It's the best croissant in the whole...
And they spent $5 million to create this?
They created this factory because they were believed in this puff pastry and even this buttery thing, and they were passionate about it. And it's kind of really interesting because I think there's going to be a flip side to this, where we know you said 27,000 restaurants. There's actually 32,000 restaurants in New York, probably not after this. And then maybe there's a spring clean that happens to all of us. I don't know. But don't you appreciate when somebody just owns something? You know, like those tiny little places or there's a bodega and they just do those 1 or 2 things incredibly well.
Well, what I was going to say is like I eat the spectrum of restaurants from the Michelin stars, the tasty menu restaurants to the dives in Chinatown. But we were talking about best restaurants in the world. I probably much rather have go to a dumpling shop in the middle of Chinatown and spend like $2 on 10 dumplings than a tasty menu. I like the tasty menus, but I love the casual stuff that no one even talks about. I love also discovering hidden gems. So yeah, it's not all about the Michelin star.
What's your feeling? I mean, you might want to make it disappear, but what's your feeling about Hudson Yards?
Oh.
Because every time I ask a New Yorker, they look at me, and I'm Australian. I'm kind of trying to be a bit Switzerland in the whole thing, when anybody says to me, "We're building the future precinct for the community," that's kind of like when a bad movie's coming out and it's like, this is like Rocky Balboa meets Star Wars, and you just go, that's going to be shit. What do you feel about Hudson Yards? Because it was a really new development. There's a ton of money in there.
I thought it was a waste of money.
Yeah.
I think this. I'll do a reaction to the camera, then I'll talk about it. That's my reaction. Huh? Didn't understand it. They spent billions of dollars on, and all these like fancy schmancy stores. It didn't really make sense. I didn't understand it, to be honest. I still don't.
Right.
I mean, Jose Andres has that Spanish food hall, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
But I just didn't understand it. And by the way, now no one's there.
Yeah, well,
it's empty.
I mean, there's had a few angels fall from that sky in the restaurant scene there as well. So let me ask.
Side note, there was a restaurant in the Hudson Yards called Electric Lemon. That's very good.
Yep.
In the Equinox Hotel. They had one of my favorite dishes pre-pandemic.
You were working out there, and you thought you'd go for it.
Yeah, I was going up to the elevator to the restaurant. They had a Contramar restaurant a famous restaurant in Mexico City. Contramar inspired black bass dish, which was fabulous. But
that sounds delicious.
But yeah, I still don't get the Hudson Yards.
Now we know you don't cook, so you're probably using your oven for storage.
Right.
Tell me one dirty food that you've got in your pantry, and don't make it up. I want to know something that you don't really put on camera. Something that it's like a weird kind of thing that maybe it's a childhood. I don't know. It could be
food in my pantry.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
Okay.
it could be like out of date Twinkies. I don't know.
No. First of all, in my fridge, let's start with my fridge. In my fridge is only bottled water, bubbly sparkling water. Please sponsor me. And
Which one?
I like the flavor. Bubbly is a flavor.
It's a flavor.
No. Bubbly is the name of a company.
Okay, gotcha.
Bubly.
I was like you're generalizing.
No. Bubly.
Yeah.
I don't know who owns it. Maybe Pepsi, maybe Coke. Who knows?
Yeah.
Flavored waters. I have that, and I have Hint. Hint is another flavored water called Hint, which is not sparkling. That's the only thing I have in my fridge. And then in my pantry, I only have snack. I don't have food. I have snacks.
like-
Yesterday, I bought organic cheese puffs.
Organic.
Sometimes I get the munchies. That's it. That's it.
Feel lucky they're
I don't
organic.
cook. I don't cook. I lived in my apartment 8 years, and I like it a lot in the East Village. And
That's such
I haven't
a New
cooked
York-
one. I tell people I haven't cooked one meal. The truth of the matter is, I did the second day I moved in. I did attempt to cook chicken cutlets in a pan. The smoker alarm went off, and I said I'm never doing this again. So that was 8 years ago. I've not cooked one meal.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about those organic cheese puffs. I'm lucky
No, they're good.
organic.
I think the company's called Barbara's.
All right, so we just the last thing we're going to wrap up, and thank you so much for being. I want to thank you very much for being on here. I want to get our producer Mark. You said that you could guess his
I said, I'm the foodie magician. Think of a restaurant or two that you like a lot in New York. I'll try to guess it. I said, Mark, think of a dish in your mind. Any dish you like. It doesn't have to be out of a
How
restaurant.
can you know that?
Well, I'm going to try to guess it. So I said, Mark, at the end of the show that we're doing right now, I'm going to try to guess a dish in his mind. So should we get him back?
Let's get.
Mark,
Can we
all
get
right,
you back on camera?
Let's get him back on camera. Marky Mark. Me and him are wearing the same
Is it
outfit.
because he's English and you're narrowing it down to
He's
like
not English, he's
Sorry,
Scottish.
Scottish. No, is it English, Scottish, whatever? Narrowing it down
So
to
listen,
like one dish.
It's just,
I mean,
it's just about mine.
It better not be potatoes.
Is it potatoes? All right, look at me. I'm going to stand up. I got to stand up. So just so the listeners here, right now inside Mark, you're thinking of a dish. You have not told me anything. I said think of one in your mind. I'm going to try to guess the dish that Mark is thinking about as the foodie magician, the only magician, mentalist, comedian in the world that eats at restaurants all day and all night. Not fruity.
That's actually sounded like a weird yogurt ad. You know, like one of the. Anyway.
Okay, the dish that's in your mind. When was the last time you had this dish? I'll make it easier. Last 6 months, last 2 weeks, within the last year.
Probably over a year ago.
Over a year ago. That's all I need to know. Here we go. It'll take me. I'll do this quick just for time's sake. 30 seconds. Look at me, Mark. Now I know because earlier I guessed he was thinking of Mary's Fish Camp.
Yeah.
Known for their lobster roll. Maybe he's thinking of lobster or lobster rolls. Pretty pricey at Mary's Fish Camp, but still very good. I think it's like $39. Maybe you're thinking of a cheeseburger. Maybe thinking about spaghetti and meatballs. Maybe he's thinking about eggplant parm or sea urchin. I'm a big uni addict. Sea urchin. I love sea urchin. Maybe he's thinking of caviar. Ooh, caviar. Fancy schmancy. Not for my little Scottish boy. Maybe you're thinking about a T-bone steak or a filet mignon.
I don't even know what that is. Oh, filet mignon.
Yeah, I said it like you've. All right, I'm going to go with this dish. Look at my eyes real quick. Look at that. By the way, beautiful eyes, Mark. So ladies and gentlemen who are listening, I'm writing something on my piece of paper here. I have a pad. Show the camera. Robert is showing the camera. Whatever. You know that dish, Robert?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Okay, he said for fuck's sake. In a loud voice. You could have thought about anything. What dish is in your mind? Say it very loud. What's the dish?
Okay, caveat. I had 2 dishes in my mind. That's the
did?
problem.
You did?
Yeah, and I thought one was too obvious, so I went with a different one.
Go with the first one.
Well, the first one was cacio pepe.
Right.
And the
That was obvious. Wait, time out. Cacio pepe was obvious?
Oh, no, sorry.
What?
Haggis. Because that's obvious.
Very obvious. So obvious. I read your mind.
Yeah.
I wrote
I wouldn't
haggis,
have said
everyone.
that.
I was
Oh
like,
my
cacio
God.
pepe. Wait,
That's
from
still pretty
from
good.
Via Carota?
Yeah.
Was it Via Carota?
It was Via Carota,
Yeah, of course. Good. I had that last week. Give it up for Mark, everybody. You got
Yeah,
Foodie
whoa.
Magician. Haggis. All right, of course, Scottish dish. Of course, that was easy.
Josh, thank you so much. Just tell me one thing on the way out. What are you going to eat now?
Oh my! Well, here's the thing. Great. By the way, answer that question, and everyone should know this if you follow me on Instagram at Foodie Magician. Is I never know. I rarely plan my meals, Robert. It's always I let the universe guide me. I like being spontaneous. So I literally have no idea. I will say last night I went to a great Korean-inspired comfort food restaurant called Uma, UMMA, by Noodle Love. There's a casual noodle spot called Noodle Love, but they're at nights they're doing this kind of more sit-down dinner. It's called Uma, a Korean-inspired comfort food. It was fabulous. But today I have no idea where I'm going,
Well,
and I
we're
like
in
that.
Neue House recording studio, right? So we're in Madison. We're
Well, if I was here, I would go to Upland because it's a block away if they're open.
They're open.
Upland,
They've got a great
and
outside area.
and they have a lunchtime only burger that's very
Of course
good.
you know that.
Yes. Lunchtime only burger at Upland. So I would go to Upland right now.
Dude, you're
'cause it's
fucking
Fuckway.
amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you for guessing. I mean, who would have thought haggis from a Scottish man?
I know.
But seriously, like, there's a few other Scottish dishes out there, but that was pretty
That's
good.
pretty easy.
Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. You got Foodie Magist.
That's it for this week, peeps. If you're enjoying the show, just go to iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcast, or whatever podcast player you listen to, and ideally give us a 5-star rating, if we deserve it, of course. It will help other people like you discover us. If you want to find out more on what we get up to, or to suggest someone we should interview, let us know. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at The Raw Hospitality Show. The show is a Fabrica Collective production produced by Mark Fellows and Samantha Webb, music by Jindal.